Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beans. Happy Friday. I'm Shelley Van. This is my co-host, Dan. How are we doing today?
Doing well. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
We got a big guest on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Rocky Too Grimy is
Markets
on
are
his
up.
way. Markets are up.
Everything's looking great today.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up beans today.
Uh-huh.
So I'm happy.
I'm happy, too. And we've got all the friends here. Clean, Wanderer, Sale, Milana Rupin. Oh, my goodness. So many friends. Mac Yank, Revanchi, Sarth, Shrugs, Wanderer, Anthony, Apsy, Beloved Summer, Ben Butler, Carlos Xavier, Crypto 4 Retire, Crypto Priest, Fred Arm, Gary, Jay Arisen, Jen's Quick Reviews, Fruity, Laura, Tavares, that is my mama, Mac Yank, Fred Arm, Jacob Anthony, Wet Juicebox in the house, Frank is here. Thank you all for being here so much. How is everybody's Friday going so far? We're going to run a couple giveaways while we wait for Rocky to...
Rocky's here.
Oh, he's here.
Yes.
The guest is in the house. You want to pull him in and then...
Yep. I'm going to take the 3-shot.
Okay.
What up, Rocky?
What's up? GM.
GM Rocky. Welcome to Beans. We're going to run a quick giveaway. What are we giving away today, Dan? We're going to hold. We've got a nice big prize, one of Rocky's NFTs, but what should we start with?
I think we start with a couple USDC.
Okay.
And then some of our Zora.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. Well, let's go ahead. Can you jump us or bounce us to, the wheel? If you haven't said a GM in chat, please do so, and your name will be automatically added to the wheel. Charlie with 2 E's, what is up? Let's make sure we got everybody. All right, let's give it a quick spin. This is for $1 in USDC plus a random Zora token bag. Milana Rupin. Congratulations. Rocky, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm sleepy. It's early.
Were you out late last night, huh?
No, it's not even being out late. It's just, doing what we do as artists. Sometimes, especially in Web3, I think we call it degenning. We're in spaces, so we also have our IRL lives. So, I have, a full work day and then I come home and then it's just basically more Web3 work, so by the time I go to sleep, it's like early mornings and then waking up super early. So
I know that feeling for sure.
The hustle is real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got a space that I'm going to co-host. Somebody asked me to co-host a little bit later today. And then I'm up here with y'all. So, I literally set my alarm for like 10 minutes before the show started. Like trying to get every wink of sleep I could get.
We were just talking about the same thing.
We were just talking about if we work from home, we just straight up roll out of bed 5 minutes before a meeting and we're just like good to go,
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sleep is precious. All right, we got some winners, collecting some bags. Let's see, we'll do one more and then we'll get into it. Sale, what up and congrats.
We're feeling pretty good though because market's pumping.
Market is pumping. Bitcoin over 94.
Yeah.
Sui is making some moves.
That's been my.
I saw my Sui go up by like $2 last night. So
Rocky's and Sui. Yeah, let's go.
He is. Let's go.
I just got introduced to that community not so long ago. So when they were talking about it, I probably put in like maybe $1 and some change just to have something. So I think last night I had like $4. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Bags are bags.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gains are gains. Doesn't matter the amount.
That's right. All right. Let's start with a quick little educational tidbit. Excuse me. Fred Arm has just won.
What's up, Joseph? I seen Joseph down there in the comments.
Protector Joseph.
Yeah.
Love that. Hello. So today's ELI 5, explain it like I'm 5, is Solana. Dan, you want to dive in?
It's a fast and cheap layer 1.
Bam.
has its own smart contracting language, its own virtual machine, which is the program, how to run the smart contracts. Yeah, low cost, high speed. A lot of the kiddos like it. Younger degens like it. And yeah, I think it's a great chain. So.
Now, when you say the younger kiddos like it, is that only because Pump.fun did what they did over there?
I just generally have the feeling that the content and the community over there is of a younger demographic.
Okay.
Could be wrong. Could just be my bias, but I think it's just a lot more geared toward a Gen Z crowd.
Okay.
That's not to say that there's not. I mean, I use it. You use it. Rocky obviously uses it, but I think like Pump.fun and the meme coin craze is definitely a little bit more newer, I guess is what I should say. Not necessarily younger, but it's newer than ETH. It's
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got all tangled up here. Okay, we're back in action. All right, I like that. So any questions? Throw them in chat. This is going to be an interview with the legendary Rocky 2 Grimy, but it's chill, it's candid. Throw questions in chat. We're here to just talk. Excuse me. So Dan, can you throw our 3-shot on screen, please?
Yep.
And we are going to dive in with Rocky while he's here. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start at the beginning. How were you first introduced into Web3, and when did you first start making music?
So as far as music, I started making music, I want to say I recorded my first song when I was 11. I started writing at 11, started recording at 11. Back when we had cassette tapes, I used to take my grandfather's tape recorder. He had like this little tape recorder thing, and I put the cassette in there, and I had a big stereo system in my room. And I would go and I would buy like instrumental CDs, just CDs with beats on them. And I would play the beats from my stereo. And I would stand in front of, the speaker with the tape recorder like this, like kind of like it's a microphone. And I would rap into the tape recorder over the cassettes. And I did that for maybe about 3 years until I finally bought a microphone to record on the computer and got an actual program. But that's how I started. That's when I started doing music. So figure that was probably like 2003, I want to say. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, and as far as Web3, I've always been on Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2009, so that was nothing new. Spaces became the thing a few years ago. I can't remember exactly what year it was, maybe 21, 22, early 22.
Mm-hmm.
I initially hated the idea of spaces because I'm not really in real life, and I know you're probably going to say like you're lying, Rocky, but I'm not really a friendly person. I don't really like people. I don't even like to be on the phone. So the idea of going into a space and talking to 20 people at a time did not excite me at all. It wasn't until one day I just happened to be scrolling and I saw music in the title. And up until that day, all I ever saw was like random stuff that I didn't care about. Probably crypto, something that I didn't understand or whatever. I was like, oh, hey, they're doing stuff for music here. So I didn't pop in like knowing anything about crypto, knowing anything about Web3. I was just trying to share my music. And that's pretty much how I found Web3, was I just ended up in rooms where, there were crypto people, and I started learning against my will, but I started learning.
I love that. And yeah, spaces were are where a lot of us learned so much.
It was Clubhouse before it was Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
I remember that brief, like, Clubhouse was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where all the artists were, I think. Like, the NFT artists, some of the Web3 overlap, regular artists too, musicians. But then, I don't know whatever happened to Clubhouse, but then it kind of moved over to Spaces, so, yeah.
It still exists. There's people still over there, believe it or not.
Really?
In Spaces?
Yeah. Clubhouse.
In Clubhouse.
I have one now. I didn't make one back then. I have one now, and I pop into it every now and then, but I'm not really active over there. But there's a lot of people that are still over there, believe it or not. And they don't use Twitter. They're, you know what I'm saying? Like they stay over there.
That's one of the craziest things, is just like thinking about how many people aren't on Twitter. Because like we're crypto people, so we're like, oh, we have to be here. This is where all the action is. Everyone's on Twitter. But there's a lot of people that very much despise Twitter, not their thing. They're on these other obscure social channels. I think like Blue Sky took a lot of companies are going over to this like Blue Sky platform. And yeah, it's just weird. We're in an echo chamber in some ways. So yeah, Clubhouse is like went viral for a little bit, and what Juicebox says it was this Clubhouse is swamped of is a former shell of what it once was. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe on Monday we'll just jump into a Clubhouse room and see what happens.
Yeah. We're gonna revive Clubhouse.
Yeah,
here.
bring it back. So Rocky, how would you describe your musical style, and who are your influences?
To describe my style is it's a little difficult. I mean, you know, definitely hip hop. Like an earlier age of hip hop, you know, kind of like the '90s. I just have that in me, like, you know, that New York East Coast type of thing. I'm a storyteller for real. You know, I can really, I can get to the bars and punchlines and all that stuff. Like my boy Thanos in particular, like he's real well known for, you know, really like punching, because he's also a battle rapper. I could do that, but I really love telling stories with my music. You know, so sometimes it's not so much a focus on the bars, but a focus on the story that I'm telling and the content. I think if I was to compare myself to anybody, probably like, because, you know, like I'm not a singer. I be singing sometimes to show off my songwriting ability. You know, I like to also write R&B. I was a singer before I was a rapper. That's, you know, some alpha for you. You know, maybe Drake, not as an influence, but I would say I would compare myself to him in the sense that, like, he's not just a rapper, he's more of a, you know, an artist. And so I would say, like, I kind of do some similar stuff to what he does. Influences Eminem, 50 Cent, you know, guys like that, like the whole G Unit for real, Lloyd Banks,
yeah,
Fabulous. I would say Kanye. Well, I mean, he wasn't writing his stuff, but, you know, I was listening to like his first album when I started writing. I was listening to Kanye's first album. You know, so that was definitely an influence there. On the R&B side, you know, Neo, Usher, Chris Brown,
yep,
and guys like that. Those are some of my favorite artists.
And you're based in New York, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from the Bronx. I've been here my entire life.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 90s hip hop. Are you like, would you say like Nas, Big L? Would you say some of those were influences or not? Not necessarily, because that's what I love. I love like
I can't call them. I can't call them influences. The reason I can't call them influences is because I didn't grow up listening to those guys.
right,
Right. So like, I didn't start listening to Nas until. Well, I mean, I knew who Nas was, and like I heard, like I would hear songs or whatever when I was young, but I wasn't like buying a Nas album, right? I didn't know who Big L was until many, many years later, probably when I was a teenager. I didn't listen to Biggie until after he passed away.
right,
Same thing with Pac. I didn't know those guys, so I would go back and do my research. But I can't say that they influenced me because those were not what I was listening to coming up.
right.
I'd say over the past 5 years, I've become a huge Nas fan, just off of his more recent work. Is some of like the best work to me that he's done. Big L, I've listened to some Big L records. I love Big L. Like Punchlines is crazy.
Right.
I'd say somebody, if you're talking people from the 90s that were influences, I'd probably say Busta Rhymes,
Yep.
Redman and Method Man.
Yep.
Those are guys that, even though I might not have been listening to them in the 90s, once we got to the 2000s, I was listening to them.
Yeah.
So those guys, Jay-Z is another guy. He's a big influence. I have so many, I feel like if I ever listened to you like as a kid growing up at all, and I played your music a lot, like I got like a little bit of their style like within my style.
Yeah. So did you start dropping music on Web 2 platforms before you started in Web 3, or did you just go straight to Web 3 once you figured out NFTs?
Yeah, no. So I've always been dropping music. There's been so many different platforms over the years. SoundCloud. I have a SoundCloud page that still exists. I haven't dropped anything on there in a while, but it's still active. Back in the day, the platform for mixtapes.
Oh, yeah.
I dropped.
Say it again. Called what?
Dat Piff.
Datpiff.
Yeah.
Datpiff.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
that was a good one.
I dropped some mixtapes on there. YouTube, obviously. I want to say YouTube started when I was like a freshman in high school. So,
Love that.
I had music on YouTube and MySpace. If you could consider that, I consider that a platform because back then MySpace, I used to be really big on MySpace, like when it was actually a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, like we dropped music on there. They had like a whole chart, billboard type of thing on there. So yeah, I was doing the the Web 2 thing for a long time, and probably I want to say like 2021 is when I first brought some of my catalog to like Spotify and Apple and all the traditional platforms that you guys hear now. And 2 years later, 2023 is when I first dropped my first NFT. You know what that one is, Shelley. Don't talk to me.
Hell yeah. So how did you decide which platform to start your Web3 music journey? Like what were the considerations when it was like, because I know there's a few different options for dropping music NFTs.
Yeah, so for me it was Sound XYZ, and really it's because at that time sound was the most popular thing that you could have your music on.
It used to be invite only, and then they made it to where anybody could, sign up and put their music on there. So this is right around the time that I had just won the competition for the culture tape to work with Rodney Jerkins. The plan was always to drop the record that we did with Rodney on Sound XYZ. So I had went, you got to get approved and everything and whatnot. So I went in, I made my profile, I got approved, and the culture tape got pushed back. It just basically, like, we made the song, and when we thought it was gonna drop, it just kept, nah, we're gonna drop it here. Nah, we're gonna drop it here. Nah, we're gonna drop it here. Right? I had it in my head that I was gonna be dropping my first NFT with Rodney around a certain time period, and that didn't happen. And I was like, hey, my Sound XYZ is activated. Let me just put a song out. So I went to Don't Talk to Me because everybody knew that song already. I'd been playing it in spaces for 10 months. Everybody had been asking me, hey, where can I mint this? And I'm telling them, you can't. But you can stream it on Spotify. So I really was just like, let me drop Don't Talk to Me, see what happens. And yeah. So I'm only on 2 platforms, like, currently. Like, after 2 years, like, I've done pretty much everything that I did on Sound. And my most recent drop is on Launch My NFT.
Love that. So I'm looking at Don't Talk to Me over on Sound, and there's still a free edition to collect, y'all. You got 100 mints on the sold out limited edition. But as an artist, I'm curious to know how these free mints affect you in a good or negative way. Like, from my perspective as a collector, I always think that when I collect the free edition, it's just helping boost you on the platform. I'm not signed in, but I do hold the limited edition of Don't Talk to Me. Little flex. So I'm curious, how can we as collectors best support you on a platform like Sound?
Well, Sound is pretty much, like, I hate to say it, but Sound is dead now.
Is it?
Like, it's been, everything that I liked about Sound initially has kind of been taken away from it, and that's why we've migrated away from that platform. The free editions it started as a cool idea, right? Basically what the free edition is it's not the song itself, it's just the artwork. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a way to where you can kind of sort of tip the artist. Say you don't have the funds to actually buy the limited edition, but you still want to support, you still want to have something in your wallet. The free edition that they provided is something that you can say, you still supported this drop, and you can continue to do that. It never goes away. So while the limited edition sold out, someone could say, hey, no, I still want to say that I have Don't Talk to Me in my wallet. You can mint the free edition. My experience as far as back then, I got a lot of those free mints as well, and it kind of boosts the algorithm. It puts you up in the charts, and that's kind of the problem with Sound now. Like, if you were to go and look at the charts, I guarantee you that every single song on those charts are free songs, and not just free editions, but like free limited editions. And it's kind of like it's almost like it's like there's one particular like record label that's on there. Like, all of these guys are all like part of the same team, the same community, and they're all kind of just like minting their own stuff, and it's just
it made it real difficult for artists to climb the charts, because especially like when you're doing a mint that isn't $1 or a free mint, you know. It makes it hard to climb the charts. It makes it hard to get visibility, because that one particular community is just taking over the charts, and the algorithm is boosting those free mints. So yeah, it just, you know, sound is pretty much just for those guys now. Whatever they're doing over there, we stay away from it. I try to tell artists that are just coming into Web3, I tell them, you know, just stay away from sound. It's not really going to do you any good.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Can you talk specifically about like the artist culture on Web3? Like, do you find it a lot more like experimental and underground? Like when you tell an artist to come, you know, try and distribute their works on a Web3 platform or as an NFT, is it because like they're not, you know, they're more experimental or underground, and they have a better way of maybe like getting discovered, or, you know, is there a different culture over here, in other words?
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different over here, man. I always say everybody has their own particular goals, you know. Me, I'm still the same as when I came into Web3. Like, I came into Web3 saying that I'm not a Web3 guy. I think at this point I kind of am, you know, but I still don't consider myself a Web3 guy, because I still very much exist in Web2, and I still very much don't want to limit myself to just Web3. I feel like, you know, because there's artists that are completely content with just being in spaces and putting their music on whatever chain and just doing that, and never putting anything on Spotify, never doing any of that. Some of them, you know, just want to, you know, make the money, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me, it's never been about the money. The money was always like a bonus, you know, because my real thing is like, I have a love for music, you know. I just want to share the music. I like, you remember I told you I've been doing this since I was 11. I'm 33. I have not seen money from what I've done until Don't Talk to Me. That was the first time that I saw money from my music, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually possible to do, you know. So now that I know this is possible, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna do this. But I mean, that's not the driving force. I want people to know me. I want people to relate to the music. I want people to enjoy it. That doesn't necessarily mean spending money on it, you know? So, I don't know. I feel like it limits you when you just want to stay in Web3, but a lot of the culture here, there's a lot of artists that don't want to step outside, and that's okay. They can make a decent living here. Some people don't care about other people knowing them. If they got 100 people that know them and that support them and will buy their record every time they drop, they're good. You know, they could quit their job or whatever. You know, in some instances, like you look at somebody like Violetta, she's kind of like in a space of her own. You know, she made one Bitcoin off of one song. Mm-hmm. Before she did that, she was already like one of the top selling NFT artists, you know. And when I came into the space, I remember meeting Violetta in a space, and it was kind of like right around the time that she was becoming this monster that she became. You know, I don't think she was completely there yet, but she was becoming that superstar that she is now. You know, so for someone like Violetta, like, she has no aspirations to be on Spotify. Like, for what? I just made a Bitcoin off a song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've got hundreds of people that support her. So I get it, but for me, I just uh, there's a more of a sky for me. I can't just stay under that one roof. I gotta break past that ceiling.
Do you see a potential, or have you seen a world where streaming platforms contribute to NFT sales? Like if you were to drop something on Sound or a different platform and you have it streaming, if it takes off on streaming, is there any overlap with, oh, now people want to mint the NFT? Or are we not there yet?
I'm not sure. I don't know if that actually would correlate, to be honest with you. Just off the simple fact that, like, I don't know, Web3 is very fickle, and not to throw shade at anyone, but I mean, you take some of those songs that you see on the charts on Sound, like take those for example. A lot of those songs are terrible, and like they're not good at all. But if you're looking at the perception and you're like, this is number one, this is number two, this must be a good song, but it's not, right? So I don't really correlate a lot of streams to good music. I don't correlate a lot of mints to good music. Because again, like I said, it could be fickle. Especially in Web3, like, some people will mint a song and have never listened to it, ever. You know what I'm saying? They might just mint it because they have the money and they want to support the person, which is also fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like, it's cool to, support people just to support them. But I also would like it if you actually like music. Like, that's why I always try to stress that fact. And when I say, like, I'm not a Web3 guy, I always tell people, like, hey, if you can't, support something here, I have 5 albums worth of stuff on streaming. If you just want to listen to my music, you can just go listen to my music. That's what's cool about what I try to do with all my drops is I try to bring some type of value to them, because I feel like if you're paying for the music, then I want to make you feel special. I want to bring something that's going to make this worth the money that you're spending. Because if I'm not doing that, you can literally just go stream it on Spotify.
Yeah.
Don't Talk to Me was on Spotify for 10 months before I bought into the blockchain, and people still minted it.
In my opinion, again, as a collector, I love that it's a direct connection to the artist. Like, hell yeah. If I like it on Spotify, I want to see if I can own it somehow and be part of that artist's community.
Yeah, I think like the community aspect is where I've noticed a difference, and I'm not like as deep into the music and that you guys are, but just like it's easier to have that connection with the artist if you own an NFT or some type of tokenized version of what they're releasing. It's like,
sure, like I could be listening to Rocky all day on Spotify, but he's not going to know that.
Right.
I go mint his NFT, then it's like, hey.
Yeah. And I think like the distinction is massive labels that, have big marketing and production budgets around major artists. Like, that's how they cultivate a community, is like, but here it's very bootstrapped.
Right.
It's very organic. You can kind of release something, hey, come mint this, who your collectors are, how to set up this community, and there's a lot more direct connection. I think there's like a lot more emotional value, and so I do think it's like a different way of connecting with an artist or an artist connecting with an audience.
Absolutely. So Rocky, your latest drop, you chose to drop on launchmynft.io, which was brand new to me, so thank you. It was only because of Bounce that I ended up over here. Can you talk a little bit about how this platform works and why you chose to drop over here?
Yeah. So my thought process behind dropping on Launch My NFT was one. It's on Solana. So Solana is kind of like the favorite. I feel like right now, more so over ETH or any other chain. I feel like Solana is the one that people gravitate towards right now. All the the meme coin craze that's going on. Everybody's trying to pump their bags and whatnot. So everybody is already messing with Solana. So it feels like a no-brainer if if we're gonna bring music somewhere, why not bring it to Solana? I had seen a couple guys already use this platform before me, and watched what they were doing. So I just went and I was like, hey, I haven't dropped a solo song in quite some time. It had probably been about a year since my last solo release. I've been working on an album with my homie Thanos. We been working on this album since around September. So my focus has just been on all that, just our collaboration, and we should be dropping sometime in the summer. So that's out. But
awesome, beans are spilling.
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, me and Thanos were talking, and he was like, hey, maybe we should put some stuff out because we go to the spaces and we just been playing demos of our album and stuff like that, and that's cool, but people are like, well, where's the stuff we can mint and whatever, and I'm like, well, we're not giving you the album stuff, you gotta wait for the album for that, so after talking to Thanos, he was like, let's do some solo stuff, for before this album happens. So that's pretty much where the idea of me doing Bounce came from. He worked on a couple solo records himself, and I did Bounce, and yeah, I was like, let me just put it on here, make it a really limited edition, do something different because I don't normally do club records. I wanted to make a club banger, and yeah, so 50 editions. Again, I'm always trying to bring value to what I'm doing, so I was like, hey, what would be cool to do? I was like, hey, when I would go to the store, I would buy a CD. When I spent my money, I'd get a CD. It would come with the the booklet. You could see the credits and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, every single person that mints this is going to get a CD. I'm going to make sure that I get every person's name and whatnot. I'm going to reach out to everybody.
I'm getting a Rocky 2 Grimy CD. Let's go.
You're getting a CD. So you're getting a CD. And this is what, and I'm gonna sign all of these things, every single one of them. And again, that's my whole thing, is that I want to bring value. I'm not doing 2,000 editions. There's 50 editions that exist, right? So assuming everybody only mints one copy, right? There's only 50 people in the world that can say they have this as a digital asset. There's only 50 people in the world that could say that they have this signed copy. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe I become a big deal. I don't know. Maybe that becomes worth something.
You're already a big deal.
Look, yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, you may not think about it much now, but maybe later, when you see some things that I'm doing at a later time, maybe I should have got that when I had the chance. But that's my thought process. That's why I limit everything. I'm never gonna do a huge drop ever. It's never gonna be a super. I don't want every single person to be able to get it, because I want the people who have it to feel special that they have it.
That is community building.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I always have a connection with the people that they get certain things. You know, like that's why like Shelley got you know, the people who got Don't Talk to Me, like that's, you know, that's my first, that's my baby, you know? Like I have a love for everybody that mentored that, and you know, even things that I haven't announced that those people who have that in their wallet are going to be receiving like down the road, you know? So for me, it's just about value. But I like this platform. I got to talk to some of the people behind it. They're still working on adding more features. I think it's really
So yeah,
cool
real
that
quickly,
you
can you explain a little bit about how this is set up that you can purchase with so many different currencies, all on Solana, but like how did you decide which to include here?
So I've just been you know, watching like what coins are popular, and also some of the coins that some of my friends are connected to, you know. So like Stu Kwan, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but Stu has been a supporter of mine for a while, and you know, his coin is Quakey, you know. So I just figured, you know, what's a cool way to show him some support and bring eyes to his token, add it to my drop, you know. And then if people want to mint with that particular token, they can. Same thing with coins. Those is that's the coin that Moon Queen and DigiBeats Hype Digital created, you know. So they have a large community over there. I'm going to be doing something with them in the future. I actually have a meeting with them later on today. So, you know, that's some more alpha for you guys. But, but yeah, I'm really just looking at, like, you know, all of those coins are pretty much like communities that I know people in the community, or it's their coin. And I was like, let me add it to the drop to help support that.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
such a cool partnership concept.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being able to mint with any coin. Like, I think like meme coins are highly speculative, but then there's this other side of it where they're artist coins and they're tied directly to something that you can get value from.
Yeah.
So I think that's an awesome feature.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
That's actually, they made it possible with this. That's true.
Yeah. I think we need to get Bounce to be a certified club banger, like you said. I think like we're going to get there with Bounce. We're going to be hearing it in the club very soon.
So that said, can we listen to a little bit of it?
That sounds good.
Yeah? Are you okay with us playing it live on air?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love for everybody to hear it.
All right, let's go.
Super villain shit. Drums rock. Let's go. Peep game. Oh yeah, this is the soundtrack. Last year they thought I was finished and then I bounced back. This year I'm on a mission, eager to count stacks. Surrendering to my super villain, I'm glad I found that. I like chilling with women, they got around that. Bounce that, perfect precision and I'ma pound that. Shorty wanna give me the kitten, watch who you pounce at. That pool ready to swim in, I might drown. These boys think I'm a gimmick, I call it clown man. This song sucks, I don't wanna listen because it sounds bad. How bad? If I had a lemon for every lyric that's off beat on me, they be worth 100,000 cash. These fake 3 niggas down bad. Me and Thanos bringing the chaos, that mean the bar's back. Or snap. Watch these niggas disappear. Super villains in here, impact like a car crash. Bounce, 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 bounce. All I wanna do is see ya. Bounce with me. Have a partner hit the floor. Bounce with me. Some clap, clap, others stomp, but around here we make 'em bounce. We make 'em bounce. Yup, like little Ron. Got your girl bouncing that ass like little John's on. You don't want no problems with me, better go put the paws on him. I hit him in his noodle and knock the sauce out of him. Knuckle carbonara, that's for thinking Rocky ain't bout it. So I'm playing, trying to hate on it like they ain't bouncing. I'm the one that turned this shit up. Darius, it is what it is, huh? I might drop a hit every 6 months. Y'all still ain't get to do what I did once. Nope. I roll with AGS, that is gang gang. Still roll dreads, ain't a thing changed. Money ain't a thing, like Jermaine say. Tell the DJ go ahead and press play to make y'all bounce, 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 bounce.
All right, leave the people wanting more. I love that beat. So good. I am so glad I own this. People, if you want to mint it, get some Solana or Quakey or Coins or Breckgold or Bougie or Chatette on Solana and get over and mint Bounce. How many are left? 21?
I think 29. 29
Okay.
left, I think.
The other way, yep. Okay, 29 left. We have one to give away.
We do have one to give away. Okay, cool.
So, stick around and definitely type something in chat so we can get your name on the wheel. Should we give it away now?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think with Rocky on, we should give it away now.
All right, Rocky.
So, before we do this, anyone that just joined us, please drop a comment in the chat. We want to get you added to the wheel. We're doing a giveaway here, so if you just joined us and you don't see your name on the wheel, please drop a comment.
We'll give it a minute. Let's see. That's better than anything I've heard on the radio lately.
Yeah.
That's right, Ben. That is right.
And you said you said that the like inspiration for Bounce was you wanted to do something like a little more like banger, like clubby, or yeah.
Yeah. It was really like, cause like me, typically I don't really make music for like for trends or for people. I kind of like make music for me. It's usually like the stuff that I experience and whatnot. But it's always my hope that people are able to relate to it and that they're able to feel something. So that's usually what I'm going for. I'm not usually trying to make like vibe music. Like, oh, this is a cool vibe, like that's not really like what I do. But I was like, what if I, did that once? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because I'm thinking about the fact that it's like, okay, you do want people to, you do want to be able to get into other audiences, right? So I'm like, there is an audience for this type of music. And, I'm looking at like my catalog and I'm like, damn, I don't know how many music like could realistically like work in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like Stu Quan, that I mentioned, like, he's a DJ. He was actually the one that put the bug in my ear where he was like, yo, like send me some records, because he does clubbing every weekend. He plays stuff. So he was like, yo, send me some music. When I was like, damn, I don't have nothing to send her. I was like, all right, here we go. Let's make a club banger. But I still try to do it my way. You know what I'm saying? Not so much like what exactly everybody else is doing. I still try to, use my pen correctly. Because, I take, the content. Like, I don't ever want, like, my stuff to just be, like, simple, basic, anybody could have, Mary Had a Little Lamb type of lyrics, So I wanted to kind of make something that was catchy, but also, I still kept my same integrity throughout the record. So
Hell yeah.
I think I was able to do that.
Yeah, you got to stay true to yourself for sure.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Last chance. Say something in chat to get your name on this wheel for a chance to win Bounce, the NFT, and you'll get a signed CD from Rocky. So, Rocky, how are you going to collect people's information for the CD portion of it? Do you have a Discord? What are we doing?
So I'm going to reach out to every single person that mints. So it's very important. One, whoever does win this, if you're not already following me and I'm not following you, like, please go do that and let me know that you're the winner, so that I can follow you and then I can reach out. I think there's literally only one person that minted like the other day, and I don't know who they are. So I'm gonna do my best to figure that out. But yeah, I know everybody that's minted, so I know how to reach out to everybody. And I'll get your address or whatever, your PO box, whatever you want to do. And when the time comes for me to be sending that over, I'll reach out.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, let's do this.
Oh, go ahead, Shelley. Yeah.
All right. We're going to spin. Let's go. Good luck, everyone.
Who's the winner?
Slim, is that your friend?
Slim Forbes Web3.
Let's go.
I know a couple of Slims. I don't know what Slim. I think
right.
if that's the Slim, if that's the Slim, I think it is. I think I know who that is.
Well, congratulations, Slim. Please jump in our Discord, the Tasty Crypto Discord, because I will need your Solana wallet address so that I can send this to you. Congratulations again. Thank you so much, Rocky. We have one more little activity to do. This is just a quick speed round. And chat, look alive, because this is an active participant. Real quick, what is your favorite beat of all time? Chat, we want to hear from you. Dan, I want to hear from you. Rocky, favorite beat of all time?
Oh, my favorite beat? Wow. That is hard. The first thing that comes to mind, I'm just going to say the first one that comes to mind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The first one that comes to my mind is Let Me Blow Your Mind by Eve. I love that record. It's one of my favorite songs of all time, period. So also one of my favorite beats. Like, anytime that comes on, doesn't matter how long it's been, I love that record. So if that's not my all-time favorite, it's very high up. Very, very high.
Love that. How about you, Dan?
So the first thing that popped into my mind was New York State of Mind by Nas.
Okay.
I don't know why, but when I was younger, I listened to a lot of that. I grew up in upstate New York, so not the city, but upstate. So I don't know, sticking with that sort of genre, that's what popped in my mind.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep it Web3.
Okay.
And I'm going to say one of Spotty Wi-Fi's classic tracks, just I'm Spotty.
Okay. Nice.
And
Shout out to Spotty, man.
Shout out to Spotty. And Mo Money, Mo Problems from Ben. And Slim said you know who it is. So Slim, congrats.
I literally just texted her. I was just like, are you the Slim that won? I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. Like, that's she's a real good friend of mine.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Like
fantastic.
one of my biggest supporters and friends out here. So I'm definitely happy that she's somebody that's receiving this.
Love that. That's fantastic. Well, Slim, please jump in our Discord.
I didn't even know she was here listening. I had no idea.
That's so good.
Yeah. Slim, jump in the Discord. Make sure we get your Solana address.
Yeah. Rocky NFT. There we go. All right, let's see. One rapper, dead or alive, who would you want to collab with?
Eminem.
Bam.
Easy.
Pretend you're a rapper, Dan. Who are you collabing with?
I would be the worst probably go like Chance or someone. Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh gosh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Chat, help me out. Who would you want to collab with if you could work with any rapper, dead or alive? The first one that comes to mind is Snoop, because I just love him so much. I just want to hang out with Snoop.
Yeah, that's
Like-
actually a good one. I also thought of Migos, but one of the Migos is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Atlanta's decent scene.
Or Kendrick Lamar.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
holy
that,
shit.
That is a good one, yeah.
I would be probably too intimidated to speak.
Yeah,
But just being around him would be really amazing.
right. And I have no musical talent whatsoever.
Oh,
so
same. Zero.
I'd be like,
Can I just sit in a room while you do your thing?
can I just be like,
I could write it. I could write it for y'all if y'all make it.
yeah, actually, if somebody wrote it for me and then they did auto tune and maybe like
basically did everything so that
everything
it wasn't
for me,
Yeah.
maybe it'd be good, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, Jen, Missy Elliott. That's a
Okay.
good one. Uh-huh. Ooh, uh-huh.
I'd love to work with Missy. Love.
Timbaland. Hell yeah. Very good, Ben. Biggie Smalls, Snoop, Wu-Tang. Mm-hmm. Jay Dilla. R.I.P. Method Man. Love it.
Yep, that's a good one.
That is a good one. All right. Well, this one's for you, Rocky. Best music NFT platform.
I mean, I'm just gonna say by default, I'll say launch my NFT. Right now, today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's some bias, but that so far, like that's out of what I've seen and what's out there. I like that the most. My only thing that I wish is that it wasn't just only Solana. If we had something that could do exactly what they're doing across all the chains, then I think that would be like super dope.
That would be amazing. Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe.
Best streaming platform.
That's easy for me. Tidal. I
Tidal.
go out of my way. Yeah, I go out of my way to tell everybody that Tidal is the superior streaming platform. Spotify sucks. Apple sucks. If you're using them, you should not be. It is kind of counterproductive though, because I want people to use Spotify because that's how I get my Spotify streams. So it's like but in my real day-to-day life, I listen to Tidal every single day. I've been using Tidal since it came out, probably like 2014. There's so many more benefits to streaming on Tidal. Like for instance, out of the streaming platforms, Tidal actually pays the most to the artists.
Okay.
They pay more than Apple. They pay more than Spotify. So when and again, it's not a whole lot of money, but when you're streaming on Spotify, we don't see as much as we would see if you were streaming on Tidal. Tidal also has this thing to where they curate playlists for you based off of like what you listen to and whatnot. They have a monthly they curate a monthly list of the songs you played the most that month, so like you can actually go back and travel through time and see what you were listening to in January 2023. It's really cool. It picks up all those things, and also at the end of the month it shows you who your most streamed artist was, and whoever your most streamed artist was, they actually get like extra money for being your most streamed artist.
Nice.
So like literally if somebody wanted to just support you, just like, just straight up, like literally like, hey, I really support this person. You stream their music a bunch of times on Tidal, they become your most streamed artist, and they're getting like, whatever you're paying, like $9.99 or something, they get like that $9.99 for like month. You know what I'm saying? So it's really cool. And also just like the listening experience, it's better. It comes through better than it does on Spotify and Apple. I could talk about that. But yeah.
All right. Well, from the artist, everybody, Tidal. I've learned something new. I will start streaming on Tidal.
Yeah.
And let's all stream Rocky. Show some support. If you can, jump on over to launchmynft.io, look up Bounce, give it a mint if you can. If not, where can everybody reach and follow you the easiest way, Rocky?
Almost everything where I'm at is just Rocky2 Grimy, ROCKY, the number 2, GRIMEY. My Twitter is Rocky2 Grimy with 2 underscores after it. I'm always on Twitter, so if you guys actually, well, so I see it down there where it says beans and it says a special guest. I got there's my Twitter right there. If you guys can see that, my Instagram is just Rocky2 Grimy. TikTok is Rocky2 Grimy. YouTube Rocky2 Grimy. Same thing on all platforms, Rocky2 Grimy. Just find me and stream me there. Yeah, I'm real easy to find. I'm not hiding.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for giving us your time today. It's been awesome talking to you. I look forward to collecting more of your drops as they come out. Everybody give him a follow.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Rocky. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you back on for sure. And
Absolutely.
Just keep us updated on what you're dropping. We'd love to support and, promote in any way we can.
For sure. Definitely, around summertime when this Supervillains album is dropping, definitely want to come back and share some of that stuff with y'all, because what me and Thanos are doing is crazy. I think you guys should also, I'd love to introduce y'all to Thanos too. He's a real dope artist. So maybe Shelley, I can tap with you in the back end, make that happen.
Absolutely.
Would love that.
Love
for
it.
sure.
Thank you all so much for being here. Congrats to our winners. If you're not already in our Discord, please jump in with the QR code on screen or go to tastycrypto.com and scroll down. There's a link there. We'll be back on Monday, and then I'm going out of town. So we won't be back on next Friday, but we'll see you Monday. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Thanks again, Rocky. We'll catch you offline. Much love.
Thanks, everyone.
Later.